All right. I think we'll go ahead and get started because it's 10 minutes past the hour. So we'll go ahead. I will warn you that I'm really bad about looking at the chat. So it's better really to unmute yourself and then just blurt out your question or your answer when we're having discussion time. And I do want this to be interactive because we learn better that way and we retain it better, right? So what we are doing today is time management using our syllabus from classes, and then we're going to use ChatGPT, that's our AI system for the day, to create a schedule for us so we know when we need to study, how much time we need to do each assignment, and our goal today is to get 3 weeks of scheduling done. So with that in mind, it's working. All right, so like I said, we're gonna take a look at our syllabus. So you might want to go ahead and pull up your syllabus on your computer.
So I didn't sign up for this online. My friend just sent me the screenshot of this thing.
He sent you a screenshot?
So I don't know where to go for this.
Oh, where to go?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're just gonna log in and go to Okta and go to your course. So you don't actually need to be in the Zoom unless you just want to be.
Okay.
The Zoom is it's really for people that could not make it today.
So go to my Okta.
Yes, you're gonna go into Okta. You're going to go into D2L courses. And then go inside your class. Generally, I find that the best way to do this is to click on content once you get in your course, and that will make it easier to find the syllabus.
No,
Chips.
no, I'm gonna stay. Thank you.
Okay, so the second thing that we will do is discuss using AI ethically. And the third thing is to implement real-world time management strategies. Now, some of us are fortunate that due to clubs or organizations that we're in, we already kind of have a schedule, such as the sports teams, they always study together. But for the rest of us, we need to figure out how to do that on our own. So I think the AI will make this easier. Okay, so I'm curious, how many of you have made a study plan but didn't follow it? You've done that? What was the reason you didn't follow it?
It was like the last school I was at. I would say because a lot of the homeworks didn't align. So like one thing that I say that like I wish professors did more was that they would have the homework start on Monday and then have it due the next following Monday. But a lot of professors will do have homework start on Tuesday, then due on Thursday. Then a professor will have homework start on Monday, due on Wednesday. Then a professor will have it start on Monday and due the next Monday. So like you get stuck on one homework plan for one class and then you're not thinking about the other classes as well.
Okay, so it sounds like
The professors don't work together to making a good schedule. I feel like they work on their own schedule instead of realizing that they use their own schedule and they don't consider that the student already is trying to follow another schedule, so it's kind of hard to follow multiple different schedules.
right, exactly. It is hard to follow the schedule for multiple classes.
Yeah.
Because professors do start things on different times. They have the due date on different days.
Yeah.
So it sounds a little bit like part of the problem is like the start date. Are they not opening the assignment early?
Some do, some don't. But like for me, it's just mostly the time where it's just like the due dates, because like it makes no sense for a homework assignment to start Monday
Come on in.
and then due Wednesday. Like And you know what I mean?
right,
Especially if it's a big assignment, cause then that big assignment takes away a lot of your time.
it does.
And then you have to remember in your head, oh, this other one's due Thursday. So like, or, oh shoot, I was doing so much work for the one that was, because I'll have a class that's on Monday and then I'll have another class on Tuesday. But that class that's Tuesday, their homework will be due Wednesday. But since I started already Monday for that homework that's due Wednesday,
Mhm.
you're not thinking about that Tuesday class. Or you might forget about that homework for Monday because you're doing the Tuesday class, because we're both due Wednesday.
Right,
But like, they start differently. The start period and the end periods are kind of like.
yeah, so start periods and end periods, it's hard to decide that. We're discussing, have you ever made a study plan, but then you didn't follow it? Why did it fail?
I don't know. I'm pretty good about following my stuff.
You are, all
Well,
right.
yeah, most of my stuff is music related, so I kind of have to follow it.
So how do you keep track of when you're going to start working on an assignment?
Well, so most of my classes are performance based, so we like all the stuff that we're working on. We started working on like January when we got back. But like
Right,
for like my academic writing class, when she like tells us, oh, or like if the syllabus has like the date and assignment is due, I'll start on it like a week before. Especially if it's like a
Okay.
writing assignment. So
so
I
you
try and
just,
do everything like at least a week before. So when it's like due, I can just like turn it in.
so are you actually entering the dates on your calendar, or you're just kind of
Oh, no,
tracking
I
it?
don't, well, sometimes, but not all the times. Like a discussion board, I know like next week I have a discussion, like I don't have a discussion board due, because everything's done. So like for the rest of the week, I'm done with everything. So, but like, no, sometimes I will. It was like a essay I will, but most of the time, no.
Okay. I'm just curious, what people do. Um, okay, so, it is, tricky. So, we're gonna use AI today, but I want to make sure that I always talk about what's ethical use and what is not. Because right now, we have some professors that are saying, don't use AI for class at all, right? And then we have some professors that they're saying, well, for this assignment, I want you to do this with AI, right? So how do we decide what is ethical use of AI? When we think about it in an academic setting, what do you guys think?
You want them to answer first before we answer?
Does anybody online have an answer? I want to give you a chance to talk. Okay, guys, go for it.
You wanna go first or I go
Oh,
first?
you can go ahead.
Alright, so I actually had a professor from my last institution.
Mhm.
Right, it was actually right before AI was allowed. Like actually AI was made. So like I had a class and like, cause like AI was kind of fairly recent. It was like 20, like I think it was made in 2019, but like people started realizing like its capabilities, cause it was kind of janky in 2019. Or started using its capabilities like I think 2021 and so
Right.
forth. So he gave us a class about how to use the internet to cheat on his test. That was our class assignment. And we were like, why are you teaching us how to cheat on your homework? And he was saying, well, I wanna make sure that if you guys are gonna cheat, he's like, if you're just cheating to find your research, you need to figure out stuff that what you're searching is correct. And like backing up your
Oh.
claims. Cause he said at the end of the day, after you graduate, you're gonna be using the internet, all kinds of stuff for your sources, even in books and all that, like open book test. You need to make sure what you're looking up backs up your claims. And then so that was part of the test, like, what's the answer? Okay, cool, you found the answer, what supports that, you know? So you
Right.
do more research and more research. It was a big exam. And what was it? And I also like learned from that same professor about like, like when it comes to like using like, AI and all that from like not only professors but like from people like online and such, where it's like what makes it ethical to use is that where I see a lot of students fail is that they'll just copy and paste the question while giving what they think might be the answer as well as. So as an example, like they might say like, oh, can you make an introductory post for my professor? And then they're like, okay, it'll make a generic one with your name, But what you should have done is say, hey, can you make an introductory post for me? I need around 300 words, but a little bit about myself. I play basketball. I love video games. I like this. 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 My parents have been together for like 20, 30 years. This. You just give it a bunch of stuff, but you don't know how to put those words into it. It's like, how can I make the sentence? Now, since you give it all that information, it gives you like a little rubric. So at that point, it's kind of basically your words
Mhm.
because you give it so much information, and now you can like pick and choose the sentences and then fix it itself. I feel like
Okay,
because it's a lot of your information.
so in that case, you're just using it to write a sentence for you?
No, not write a sentence. Like you give it a lot of information, and you say like, "Can you give me some ideas on how to make my sentence?"
Okay, give you some ideas, right?
This is what I
So
gave you.
it's kind of prompting you to come up with an answer,
Yeah,
like,
making a rubric.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, making a rubric, definitely. What about you?
I mean, I typically don't use AI unless it's like I need to for an assignment. Like my last assignment for my academic writing class, we had to like use AI to like some like we had to use Copilot. We had to make an image,
That's
and then, like that's the only thing I don't really use ChatGPT for AI, but like I don't know that I really don't use it, so I don't know.
So I think while we're here at St. Leo, one thing to really keep in mind is to think about who's doing the heavy mental work, right? So we should not be asking it to figure something out if the whole point of the exercise is that we figure it out, right? So if I have a math quiz, I can put equations into ChatGPT, but then I never actually do that assignment, right? I never go through the steps. Now, it's different if I go through the steps and then I'm like, wait, I got stuck on step 3 and I really couldn't get beyond it. Then there's a chance to say, okay, ChatGPT, just show me the first step in solving this problem and then see if I got it right. Okay, so then I know, okay, that step's right, and we could go through it like that. But another example would be, asking it, write my discussion post for this and use 2 sources. All right, Chat GPT will do anything that you ask it for the most part. The problem is, like you're saying, you're not sure that information is true.
Yep.
Is it right or not? And so we have students that they're posting in the discussion boards or writing papers, and the sources they're getting from Chat GPT
Are
don't.
incorrect. That's why you need
Yeah.
you can't rely on Chat GP. Like what as an example, like you can't rely on the sources that they give you. So like I remember last semester, like not last semester, last a couple like 1 or 2 years ago, I couldn't find sources for my paper, and I was like, man, I can't find anything on Google because Google is also a whole rabbit hole of information.
Right.
So I was like, hey Google, are there any websites that you recommend that I forgot what the topic was, but like for this, and it gave me like 5 different. Oh yeah, look at these 5 different sources. All those sources like were links to nothing. So I was like, oh shoot, like this is like never mind then. You know what I mean?
Right,
But like
exactly.
a lot of students will like just make the discussion, but like, can you give me 2 sources? And then those 2 sources are wrong. Or I don't know,
Exactly.
not wrong, but like not even an actual website. It was just make a URL link.
Yes, so we have to make sure that the sources we use are actually there and that they're actually scholarly. So when I teach library instruction for different classes that have research, I always tell them, use the library databases, and we have videos on that. Because the library databases, we pay for that information, so it's good, it's accurate, you're gonna be able to trust the data that's in those sources.
Yeah.
Right, okay, so definitely don't be using AI to find your articles. And if you cannot find what you need, please ask a librarian, me or anyone here, or Christine who's online. She's our online librarian, because we can always help you find good, credible sources, and it will not take as long as if you're trying to go through Google and figure out, is that a real source or not?
I will say this though, it's kind of hard going through the databases on the online databases. I don't know if she can help with that, but like I've had like 3 professors try to explain to me, and like there's like it's like A through Z, and then like some websites are better than finding other ones for certain type of business articles. And I do say one thing is
Mhm.
it's the online library sources are great, but when it comes to like certain topics, it's kind of like impossible to find.
Have you ever
like-
tried EBSCO? Sorry, I mean, I've
Yeah,
never tried
EBSCO, yeah.
Yeah, I love EBSCO.
Yeah, like
EBSCO and ProQuest are my favorite.
I like I use ProQuest. One thing I hate about ProQuest is when the professor says you need to find a scholarly article within the next 5 years, within these past 5 years, and then some student like some people don't make anything until like 10 years ago, and there's not been an update since then for an article. I hate that.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's definitely where you wanna talk to a librarian
Yeah.
and see, so the librarian can help you see, okay, why is that happening? And sometimes there are ways to connect to future articles, but it depends on the subject.
Yeah, and also too like I hate the search feature on it. Like you can, it's like awful. Like there's like 6 different things that you need to click. I hate it. I hate it. I hate using. I hate
We'll
the
have to
searching.
have a workshop on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so, okay, the syllabus. You know, we get a syllabus from our professors and we don't really get an explanation. Why are you even giving us a syllabus, right? What kind of stuff is in a syllabus?
Due dates.
Grade or grading scale.
Yeah, grading scale.
The grading scales in there, okay? We have
Late-
some due dates in
late term
there,
policy.
Assignments, yeah.
Yeah.
okay? Do you guys really look at the syllabus much after the first week?
I look at for 3 things: their late term policy, their grading scale, and
Well, yeah,
due dates.
I do, if like, I have like Wednesday I have a concert, so like I will, if I like need to know if I have a like conflicting assignment
Yeah.
or something like that, but other than that, no.
Yeah, those are good things that you're looking for. I would say another thing to look for in the syllabus is how the work is weighted. So like if a discussion board is worth 1%.
Yeah.
And a paper is worth 30%, then you definitely want to focus on the paper, right? So as we look at a syllabus right now, and I can give you an example, unless you want to look on your phone. You want to look at what types of assignments do you have. So usually if it's an online class, you're going to have discussion boards. You know that's going to happen. But then do you have papers? You have performances, right? So you want to kind of figure out what types of assignments do I have in my discipline or my major, and how much time will it take me to do that kind of assignment, right? So how long do you think it takes you to do a discussion board post correctly?
It depends on what the question is,
Yeah.
really.
Depends on the question.
Yeah, depends on what they're trying to ask for.
Okay, good
It
answer.
depends on how long they want it.
Well, yes, how long do they want it?
Like, some discussion boards take like 15 minutes, others take like 2 hours.
Yeah,
Right.
it all depends on the question.
Good answer, right? So, so we can't always estimate, we can try, right? But things will come up, whether it's, oh, that question's hard and I don't know anything about it. The other thing that happens with our schedule is we've got classes to go to, right? We've got to go to those. You've got sports events you need to go to. You have performance events you need to go to, and probably extra rehearsals.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, so then, do either of you have a job? Yeah, okay, so, yeah, we're
Yeah.
just here. Okay, and you have a job, so then you've got to figure out, okay, what are my work hours? Cause I
Yeah.
can't study during that time usually. And then do you have club or some kind of organizational activity?
I would like to, but
No time? Yeah, so those are things that we also have to take into account when we're trying to create a schedule. And this is where AI can help us out. Because generally as professors, we don't say, okay, as you're reading the syllabus, consider all these other things, right? So we need to see where there will be conflicts. So what we're gonna do is we are gonna use, like I said, ChatGPT. We're gonna try and create a 3-week study plan based on a syllabus that you have. If you are feeling like you really want to get after it, you can look at more than just one of your syllabi. You can take a look at all your classes, but I definitely want us to try with one and see what we can do. All right. So this is the stuff that we need to figure out before we start putting stuff into ChatGPT. All right. So we'll want to make a list of the due dates for every assignment in the next 3 weeks. Now, I'm just asking you to do it for a class. All right, so you get to be in a master's level class. So take a look at your syllabus and look at the assignments you have for the next 3 weeks for this one class. All right. To either mentally on paper in another document, list the due dates of every assignment so that you can just plug those right into ChatGPT when we're ready. If it's an essay, or I will just warn you, there are simulations in the master's level class. You're gonna have to plan to do some research before you do the simulation. So how much time will each part take, right? We already asked about discussion posts, and we know that could take short time, a long time. If you have a research paper, think about, okay, if I break that into parts, I have to find articles. That might mean I have to talk to a librarian, right? So when can I talk to a librarian and how much time might that take? How much time will it take me to read the sources after I found them? And then you kind of have to think about how you write a paper, but when do you just sit down and write it like in 3 hours, or do you break it up over several days? Okay, so think about your own kind of workflow there. So along with that, then you're going to list out times you have to be in class, times you have to be at work, clubs or rehearsals or practices.
Yeah.
Okay, and then think about when and where you like to study. So for some students, a lot of things are due Sunday night. So they like to be in here using the library computers, and there's kind of this camaraderie that, okay, we're all in here trying to get our assignment in before midnight, right? So it might be that for you. I'm sure you have a special spot for where
I go to the cave.
you go to the cave.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you might want to put, oh, okay, the cave, that's where I want to do this thing. Maybe that's where I want to write, but I want to do my research in the library. All right, and we're going to use that information to
I
fill.
would come to the library more often if there was parking.
I'm sorry.
If there was parking closer parking, because you can't park here, right?
No, students can't.
You
Yeah.
can after 5 o'clock and all weekend.
Oh, really?
Yes, after 5 p.m., all day Saturday, all day Sunday, you can park in the library parking lot.
You
I've
guys
gotten
need to
that.
tell that. You guys need to tell that to security. They were very rude to me like last semester when I came here after 5.
Really?
Well,
Yeah.
what's his name? Mr. Mike D'Ambrosio, the head of security. I emailed him just a few days ago and said, just verifying students are allowed to park in the library parking lot after 5 o'clock in the evening and on weekends. And he said, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's what I've been told
Okay.
directly
Yeah.
from security that before 5 o'clock, no, you can't.
Yeah.
After 5 o'clock, you can. And on weekends.
No.
Good to know. I think it's worth coming just for that. Now you know when you can park. Okay, so we're gathering this information. And this is my suggested prompt. Now, you don't have to make it like this, but what I did was I tried to give you something generic that it would be easy to fill in the important parts, right? So I have the following assignments. So I would say I have discussion board 1, discussion board 2, discussion board 3, and discussion 1 is due on this date, discussion 2 on this date. Now, discussion boards, we can usually remember because they're at a regular time. Where we might have problems is when we're doing a research paper, or if we have to do a series of writing assignments. So in one of the English classes, they have you find your sources and do an annotated bibliography. And then they have you take those sources and do a literature review. And then they have you write the paper. So you would have annotated bibliography on this date, literature review on this date, paper due on this date. Then I know we talked about, okay, it's hard to predict how long something's going to take. But if you can see the name of the discussion post, or you know you're gonna get to pick the topic, that might give you an idea of, okay, if I decide to write on this, how long is it gonna take me to find that? So we're gonna put in how much time do we think we need to do this assignment, this one thing, right? So one of the examples I was looking at, somebody said I need 12 hours to write a research paper. Okay, that's probably not too far from the truth. It's just that we don't usually do that. We don't plan it out. We just do it until it's either we hit the deadline or it's done enough, right? Okay, so then after we put in our assignments, we're gonna put in when we have class. So I have classes from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Obviously, you would change that. I didn't put it in brackets, but it should be. And what days? Do tell it when you can study. So even though I have class on Monday and Wednesday, I can study after 6 p.m. But when you have social time. So, you know, I would say Saturday afternoon and evening, I'm with friends. I'm not studying on Saturday. Okay, tell it when you like to study and where you like to study, where your club, sports, whatever, those other time commitments you have. And then if you have to do a lot of reading for a class, tell it, I have to do other readings. So create a study plan. This is the important part. Breaks down the work into manageable parts and schedules the best time for me to work on it. So this is where it's going to help us with the big things, the big projects. To break that down and help us to maybe not procrastinate because it seems like it's so overwhelming to get that done. All right, so I'm gonna get out of this, and I wanted to show you ChatGPT and what it did for me. Okay, so this is what ChatGPT looks like if you've been using it for a while. So it always has the search box here. Because I've logged in, I've made an account. It does keep track of my conversations with it, right? So that comes in handy if you're working on a long assignment where maybe you need it to give you some feedback here and there. How can I improve this part? And so on. So let's see. All right, so I'm actually having trouble seeing my own work here. The Zoom stuff's in the way. All right, so this is the answer that I got from ChatGPT. And I asked it to give me 3 weeks. Now, obviously, I'm kind of making stuff up here. I am a student, but
Oh, you were a student here?
I'm doing the MBA.
Oh,
So librarians already have a master's in library and information science, but I wanted to get a second master's, so I kind of have an area of specialty. So this is a rough version of the draft or the prompt. Okay, so I said I have a research paper due in 3 weeks. It must be 10 pages long. I need to use 5 scholarly sources. I have 2 discussion posts due, one on week 1, Sunday by 11:59 p.m. and the other one is the next Sunday by 11:59. I estimate that each discussion post will take me 1 hour. I estimate it will take me 12 hours to complete a research paper. I have classes at this time. I have to work at this time. And I want to spend Sunday with my friends, create a study plan. All right, so the first draft
Sorry,
that
can I just leave this seat?
yeah, just leave it there. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so the first one that it gave me, it just decided since I go to class from 9 to 3 that I don't need, that I don't have any study time,
yeah.
right? So that's where I was like, oh, okay, we've got to tell it, when do we want to do that? Thinks that about Wednesday as well. But it did a really great job of breaking down the paper. So what I did was I just said, okay, take that. It's great, but I can study on Monday and Wednesdays after 6. So revise that. So it did. So I really like the way it broke down the research paper because you can see, okay, on Monday, I only have to find 2 or 3 scholarly articles. I'm not trying to find all of them at once. It gives me an hour and a half. I really don't probably need that long. And unless the topic's really hard, or maybe I don't know how to use the databases. But then Tuesday, it says continue to research, annotate, take notes, etc. All right, so do you want to try it?
No, this one, no, I'm good. Like, I already got a schedule.
You've already got a schedule.
Yeah, I don't want to be conflicting, yeah. Wait, 1 second, I'm sorry.
Oh.
Hello? Where you at? What's going to come to the library?
So,
Mhm.
for those of you that are online, you can see that it continues to walk me
Yeah.
through creating, the research paper outline and thesis. Then it prompts me when to write the
Right.
introduction,
I'll text you.
first body paragraph. Again, Saturday, it listened to what I said about my friends, so no study time on Saturday.
Sorry about that.
Okay. And then on Sunday, it's telling me to start the discussion post in the morning and then do more writing on the research paper later in the afternoon. So it's breaking all of that up for me. All right. So I really like this, and I like that ChatGPT also tells me, why does this work? Well, it's balanced. So all the work is not falling on one day.
Yeah,
It's spread out over the week. It's giving me more time than I actually need, right? So an hour and a half to find 2 sources. I don't really need that much time, but maybe once I get started, I could actually find all 5 at once. It's also having a day free is good for us mentally. If our schedule can accommodate that, students You need a day to just let your brain rest and process what it's already done. So because everything's spread out, we don't have last minute cramming, like somebody's trying to finish their paper at 2 a.m. That is no fun. So it does also give us buffer time because it's saying, okay, polish this, polish that. And so if things came up and we couldn't get as far as we wanted to, instead of polishing, we would just be writing and getting it finished, right? Okay, so going back to our PowerPoint. I want to talk about some real world time management skills. So some things to remember that have nothing to do with AI
Yeah.
is that you can do 80% of the work in 20% of your time usually, okay? So if you are if you're focused, you have a plan, you're gonna focus on high impact tasks first, like if the research paper is 30% of the grade, I wanna do that before I worry about a discussion post that's worth only 1%. So keep focused on those.
I would
kinds
agree on
of
that, but
tasks.
a lot of professors don't really work with that kind of schedule, like with that. Like my English professor, she like, we tried to get ahead on the research paper,
Mhm.
she said no.
Really?
A lot of professors like I've had are little like that, cause the discussion posts, it kind of like it accumulates over time. And but they say that, but not really, but they don't open they don't open the research paper until 2-3 weeks, yeah. So I don't really, like, it's okay, like
Yeah,
but it depends on, I think it depends on the class and depends on your major as well. This is coming from like a student's perspective, or like,
no, but that's good to know.
yeah,
That helps us help you if
Mhm.
we know that, oh, okay, we have professors that are not opening up some of those long-term assignments
Mhm.
early.
Yeah.
Cause
Oh,
I like to work ahead.
I actually had a midterm final, that was our paper, and it was a group project midterm, and it wasn't available to us until this week. So like, it's just like, it's college, so you just gotta get used to it, but like,
Yeah, but I can see where that would be frustrating, especially when
because also,
you're an athlete, you
oh
only have
yeah,
so much time.
oh yeah, but like I said, it's like what's expected from us. I agree, it's a lot of times, but you just got and I understand the professors too, because they're trying to do what they think is best for us. Cause
Right.
so like I understand, like in their perspective, they're not trying to do that to us to make it say like making it hard for us. A lot of professors in my classes are great, but it's that I understand from their perspective, they can't open up that midterm yet because they want people to follow along. And also too, in their heads, how could you guys finish most of this if you guys don't even know all the material yet?
That's true. That's true. I can see that.
Yeah. So it's both of them. I'm not trying to play devil's advocate, but it's hard.
Yeah, no, I get it. And you're bringing up, real world situations. That's
Yeah.
what happens here. So, yeah, time blocking is another time management strategy where you try and group similar tasks. So if you needed to find 5 sources for your research paper, but you also have to find 2 sources for your discussion post, you could group those together in a time block and just go find all the articles at one time or one study session. Buffer time, we saw ChatGPT trying to do that for us. It didn't call it catch-up slots, but we could make those. So the buffer time for ChatGPT, it's talking about polishing it and things like that, and that's how it's building it in. But I know I have to build in buffer time for my job because there's always going to be some interruption I'm not expecting. A student needs help, the printers go down, something like that. And my first priority is help students. So that comes before all the other stuff I have to do.
Yeah.
So it's always good to have kind of, instead of planning 8 hours of work, plans about 6. And for, at least for a work job, that works. Okay, so for those of you online, definitely do this thing. I know it seems kind of silly, but what is one habit you want to implement to stick to your schedule? Write down a commitment statement. Believe it or not, that actually makes a difference. So you're putting into writing what you intend to do. And then, because we all have cell phones, set a reminder for a time you're going to check in and adjust your plan, right? So this way, we've talked today about just one class and the assignments in that 3-week period, but obviously we have other classes that we need to consider. So go ahead and on your phone right now, set a time that you're going to check in and adjust that plan in ChatGPT. So that might be after this session, it might be after dinner, it might be tomorrow. But set a reminder so that you can go in and adjust the plan to work better for you and for the rest of your classes. All right, so just remember, we talked about ethical AI, and we definitely want to keep that mindset, whether we're here at school or at work, wherever. We want to use AI to help us learn, not to do the thinking and the learning for us, right? If we have it do the work for us, then why are we here? We should just give the diploma to ChatGPT. You've had some hands-on practice with using ChatGPT. I encourage you to continue to play with it, play with that prompt. Obviously, that's not the only way to prompt ChatGPT to create a schedule. So, play around and see what works for you and what doesn't. We talked about the real world strategies that you can use outside of ChatGPT. And if you've given yourself that check-in reminder, you already have some built-in accountability. As the semester goes on, remember we're only planning 3 weeks here. So seek feedback, maybe from your friends, from your professors, from your grades. Reflect on how are you doing? Are you getting the grades that you want? Are you having enough time to do the work that you want? And don't be afraid to explore new ways to adjust your schedule, to adjust how you study. Maybe try a new way to study that's different than just rereading your textbook. Set some personal goals and always be sure to adapt. AI is going to continue to change. It's going to continue to change how we do education. So we as students and professors need to adapt to that, adjust, and make the changes needed because AI is not going away. Definitely not. Any questions? Questions, comments, smart remarks?
How are some of the ways the library can support our students, not just with AI, but just in general?
In general, the library has a lot to offer as far as really any step in the research paper project, because we have the databases to find full text articles quickly, and especially if you watch the videos we have on YouTube or have a librarian explain how to do a search in the databases, because we can't just put in an entire sentence and think the database will find something. Yeah, you've experienced that. So that helps us at the research part. Then when it comes to the taking notes, we do have Zotero software that students can use. Or obviously they can come here and print out the articles if they want to do it that way. To take notes, the library provides help with MLA and APA citations. We have Word templates, so you can start your paper in a template that is already built for MLA or for APA. And
Can students set appointments to get one-on-one help?
yes, they can. We have a chat function, a widget, like the annoying widget on the library webpage. It always comes out, yes. So it's possible to get immediate help right there if it's between 8 and 9 p.m. But then you can also make appointments with librarians to meet for 30 or 60 minutes, however long you think that you need, to help you with it's your research or your citations, any of that. We can help with that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Well, thank you all for coming. I appreciate it. And we'll be sending out the recording to everyone that registered. All right. Have a good evening.
Sorry if I talk too much.
No, you were great. You were great. I'm so glad that you were talking. Thank you.
You know, my friend told me, he didn't even show up. He said, yo, bro, they're doing this seminar of like AI and all that. We should go.